The following is a presentation of Morning Drive Media.
Broadcasting from the beautiful, steamy, sexy, steamy part of Studio City, it's the Napzok Files. I'm a little flummoxed already because of this fine 18-year whiskey I am downing here, some Jamesons with my guest. And this is if you're joining me from the world of schmoes, I'm Ken Napzok, by the way. This is the Napzok Files. If you're joining me from the world of schmoes, this is, I would dare say, an episode that was 2 years in the making and a very highly anticipated episode. If you're not from the world of schmoes, number one, you should be. Go check out Schmoes Know, schmoesknow.com, and our live movie show on the AfterBuzz TV studios. You can find it at schmoesknow.com, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk more about that later. But this character, I guess I'll call him a character, is perhaps the most controversial, definitely one of the most recognizable and memorable characters from the world of Schmoeville, and the Schmoes Know movie show. My relationship with him started with a crash, bang, and a boom, and it has picked up to the point where now we're sharing drinks. However, that was a long journey, and I know a lot of you want to find out about this man. It is, well, he has many names. We'll call him Finstock and Tom Dagnino. Welcome to the Napzok Files.
Hickory dickory dock. I'm happy to be here.
Happy you're here, buddy.
Oh, absolutely. I just got back from Willow Smith's house. We did a little photo shoot in her bedroom.
Was that the one on Instagram I haven't seen yet?
Yeah, this is a new one. It'll be out next week.
Outstanding.
I'm hoping for Child Protective Services to come to my house.
You've got the arms and shoulders for it. First of all, before we get into it, I want to know, and I want to know sincerely, and I want you to be honest with me. I don't want to play games. I don't want a character. I want the truth to come out. I want that guarantee from you that you can answer this question honestly.
Absolutely.
Okay. How's Frank Stallone?
I was with him yesterday.
Tell me.
It was really interesting stuff. I was watching the U.S. soccer game yesterday at this place called Goal. Very disappointing, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Bradley.
Yeah, he got to control the ball there. And basically, it was some guy was over there. It was Doug Ellen from Entourage. He's like, U.S. wins, tequila shots around the horn. They started pouring them because they thought the game was over, right?
Right.
So we're all sitting there chanting USA with like 2 seconds left.
Tequila in hand.
And tequila in hand. And the ball goes in. And everybody's like, did that just happen? They're like, what the fuck? And then the thing ended, and people took the tequila shots anyway because they were totally mesmerized on what just happened. And what a kick by Ronaldo.
Well, you needed the tequila after that.
Oh,
it was
course.
A great kick.
Oh, my God. He's the best in the world. That's why he dates models and paints models. He probably went home and had a giant orgy with like everybody in Brazil.
Everyone.
Guys included.
Including the politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't even know where to begin with you.
Yeah, well, the Stallone thing.
The Stallone thing. How's Frank?
He's great. I walked into Craig's afterwards because I needed something to eat. I mean, because I was inebriated, obviously.
Sure.
And he's in there. He has a full jean outfit on, looking like Jay Leno doing jaywalk. And I'm like, there's Frank. He was wasted talking to 3 girls. I walk up and I hear him going, I've been shot 14 times already. And with a Howitzer and like a 38 special. And the girls are like, who is this guy? So I'm like, hey, Frank, what's up? It's Tom. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't remember what, I didn't recognize you without the baseball cap. So we start talking. And I'm like, hey, man, you on the podcast? He's like, yeah, get in touch with my manager. It's all good. So basically he got mad at me because I took over the 3 chicks that he was talking to.
You shut down Frank's game?
Shut down his game. No. And he's like, who is this guy? And then the guy was sitting next to me, like, started saying, you're being too loud. And he's like, you don't know who I am. I'm Frank Stallone. And the girls are like, is that Sly Stallone's brother? And I'm like, yeah. Like, he has a brother? I'm like, yeah, he's famous. So Frank starts showing them, like, a couple of shows he's done at the place over there with Robert Blake. What's it called?
Vitello's.
He's like a regular over there.
Yeah.
He does it every weekend.
I don't want to give away my position to more aggressive fans, but that's walking distance from my house.
Oh, my God. I'm going there Saturday. You want to go?
Yeah, I might.
Frank's
there doing jazz, right?
He's the best.
Yeah, or not jazz, doing his actual band, right?
Yeah, then he had some handler, and that was next to him that he needed because he was wasted. And then, like, Kim and Kanye come in the next second. He's like, who's that guy? I'm like, he's a rapper. He's like, fuck that guy. That's pretty much it. It was amazing.
Kim and Kanye walked in.
Yes, in the black Lamborghini outside. Okay. While I was talking to JTI on the phone about the Cobra commentary, it was amazing.
What's just going on?
Yeah.
Your relationship with JTE, Josh the engineer, Josh Tapia, a recent guest here in the Napzok Files, the engineer of the Schmoeville podcast, it's one of the weirdest relationships, but the funniest and most fruitful partnerships in Schmoeville. Can you tell me a little bit about how you've taken this guy under your wing? If I can even call it that.
It's really funny. You know, the first couple of times I met him, I think he was like, I equate him to like Lewis and Teen Wolf. You know, where, you know, they were best friends and he turns into a wolf and he's like really scared of him. But then he like, you know, calmed Lewis down at the end and was like, hey, I'm the same guy. I'm Scott Howard here. I'm just covered in wolf hair.
Right.
And I think sort of that what it came down to. He was very scared, didn't know what to think. But now when he comes over and we shoot our stuff, I mean, we vibe. It's like, I mean, it's really good stuff. It's almost like Lenny and Squiggy.
I'd say the Meet the Schmoes video you guys did on Schmo Plus, for me personally, and speaking truthfully, that was, I already had known, let me set something straight, I already knew who you were. We had met in passing a few times. I could pick you out of the crowd as one of Christian's friends.
Of course.
I think that guy's named Tom, I think. So when you first showed up, and I want to get into that first appearance on the podcast, but it wasn't that I had some giant thing against you, or it just was I was confused as all hell what was going on, and I wasn't sure where to take you. And then it was the moment. The video was just a masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, folks, go to Schmo Plus on YouTube and find Meet the Schmoes with Finstock. But that moment that the camera pans and you've got the wall of Tiffany's pictures, I was like, okay, this guy I get. And I appreciate it was in that instant.
The stick of it all.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, man, your news on the show is the fourth best thing on the podcast.
Oh, it's about
It's the fourth best thing. First is Tiffany's ass, breasts, and clavicle bone. Then it's the news.
That's fourth. Okay.
Yeah. Alicia Malone's hot too. So I mean,
we pick them pretty.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to go.
But they're talented too. Hashtag yes all women. They're talented. But is that thing with Tiffany? So that's real. Do you really? Is this?
Well, she's my type. I mean, I like dark hair, dark eyes, and C cups. You know, and I think that she has all those things. But she also has something I like too.
Is the clavicle thing real?
Yeah, I mean, I love symmetrical clavicle bones. But the crazy part about it is I really like girls who don't know their sex appeal. You know, like some girls just walk around and be like, "Oh, I'm not even that hot." Like, no, not really. Some girls try to play it, but then there's some girls who really own, that they don't believe they're sexy.
And you think Tiffany's one of those?
Oh yeah.
I would agree with that. I've been around her a lot, working on projects, being out in public, being at WonderCon.
Yep.
And she's so nice and got that big smile, the winning smile, and that people are attracted to that too. And it's not just men leering at her. It is like, they get lost.
It's the real thing.
And she wouldn't believe that at the end of her days. But you're trying to force her to believe?
I want her
to, like a mercy mission?
Yeah,
for
I want
you?
her to believe it. I want her. I mean, because Bob only goes with hot chicks and that know they're sexy. I'm trying to get the girls who are really hot that don't think they're sexy.
Right.
But I'm just getting chicks that think they're sexy, and then it usually ends up in like a one night stand.
And then do you find yourself trying to take them down a peg?
I use the old demoralization technique and then build them back up just to demoralize them again.
Kind of like a dentist system, but it's the Finstock way?
Absolutely.
Something like that. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Bronx, New York, in the projects, basically.
Not New Jersey or anything like that?
No, I moved to New Jersey for high school.
Gotcha.
So basically what happened was, I was living in... Yeah, I mean, my dad abandoned my family. I have an older brother and two younger sisters. He just went off on a boat one day. It was the old like, "Hey, I'm going to get a pack of cigarettes" joke.
Fish.
He just went on a boat and
it sounds like like a superhero origin story.
Yeah, it sort of is. And then my mom met some like weird construction, like coke-headed, like crazy maniac who bought a bunch of houses in Jersey, and we just moved into it.
And you just flipped on over.
And then we just flipped over there, and then I didn't want to move, so I moved in with my grandma, who was like half senile at the time. She was like falling every day, and I had to pick her up, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. My mom told me the truth. I was like, what am I supposed to do down there? It's like the Goondocks. It's like I can't live down there. And it's like I need minorities in my life. It's all white people. And she's like, no, I think you could like look at it on the bright side. You could maybe like manipulate them. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can. And that's exactly what I did. And I just took it to the next level.
Yeah.
I became friends with the biggest jock over there.
You're in great shape and an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Were you always that way, or did you work your way into it?
I've been playing baseball since I came out of the womb, basically.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, baseball, football, basketball guy. You know, it was really interesting, you know, the transition, you know, because I moved to Jersey freshman year of high school, not knowing anybody. So I was like, how do I
Isn't that how
get
the
friends?
boss started?
Yeah, I was like, how do I get friends here?
Right.
You know, so I was like, my sister was kind of hot. She's only a year younger than me. So I knew who the big bully was. And I was like, I don't want to get picked on because I was a twig. I had, you know, I was just good at sports. I was just really skinny, though. I was 120 pounds easy, you know. And I was like, why don't you just get this, just like act like you like this bully? Because he lived like not too far away. And he was like the worst guy in the world. He used to like crunch up like Hershey's Kisses in his mouth and spit them in people's hair. I was like, I don't want to be that guy. Sleeper holds, all kinds of different things. So
I've read this comic book before.
Yeah, so she started like liking the guy.
Okay.
Next thing you know, the guy was like the wrestling champion and all these other things. He was like the worst guy in the world. He used to like sleep on the desks in school, like put together with his like nutsack out, and like would smash people's projects in wood shop, like all the worst guy in the world. So she started like dating him for a second, and I became his best friend, and I skated through at least junior year until he got kicked out. And by that time, I made a name for myself, and I was fine.
Did you send your sister in, or did that happen organically? Were you like, hey,
No, I sent her in.
Okay, you got here's
I was
my
like, you
plan.
want to make a name for ourselves here? This is what we're gonna do. And I went to high school with my sisters. I was a senior, you know, my sister was a junior, and my other sister was a freshman. So after I ran through all the junior chicks that my sister was with, then by that time, you know, the freshman chicks that my other sister had were ripe and ready for Finstock.
Okay. It's hard to tell with you, and this is what I do love about you, is why the fans love you. It's hard to tell what is real and fake. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I want to know at this point. I don't think I want to know.
I don't even know.
I believe you know Frank Stallone.
Yes.
In my heart, I believe it.
I do. And I'm going to get him on the show to prove it.
I think you're going to have to, though.
Yeah, I think I will.
You're going to have to.
I'm going to have to show him prove eventually.
You're going to have to come through on something.
Yeah.
Did you grow up a Mets fan or a Yankee fan?
I was a Met guy. I mean, I grew up about 3 blocks away from Yankee Stadium, but I wanted to go against the grain that quickly, and it's definitely helped my debating skills.
Yeah.
And
you learned early on,
right? But I mean, I grew up when the Yankees were like, you could sit in the bleachers and like smoke crack for $1 out there.
Yeah, they'd provide the crack.
Yeah, they had like Jack Clark, like Don Mattingly, and like a bunch of like white guys who
Ken Phelps, Jay Buhner is a rookie,
little guy, guys like that. I mean, Ricky Henderson, like Len Sakata, like guys, like who are these guys? You know, so
Ken Griffey Sr.
Yeah, I mean, we had Hernandez, we had Gooden, we had Strawberry, and
Keith Hernandez smoking on the dugout steps.
Yeah, I mean,
my guy Gary Carter, my all-time favorite player.
Ah, man, R.I.P.
Yeah,
the kid was a great guy. The Ivory soap commercial when he ripped it in half, it's pretty amazing. I've been trying to do that for years.
Have you ever read the book The Bad Guys Won by Jeff Pearlman?
Great book.
That's a spectacular book.
I have it in my car right now.
Yeah, it's next to a journal of Tiffany's movements.
That, yes, and then I have an autobiography that I'm currently writing about myself.
The exploits that did happen.
Yeah, it's still unauthorized by me though.
What made you move out here?
The movie Boogie Nights, actually.
Get at it. That sounds about right.
You know,
put your pants back on.
I watched a movie. You know, I'm a big fan of like 70s porn, 80s porn. My brother put me onto it back in the day. We used to watch WHT. My dad would go to sleep. He'd hit it on. We watch old stag movies and stuff like that. So I knew about the birds and the bees quickly.
Right.
And I love the storylines in those movies. People don't really realize that porn was great.
They had them.
It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one called Talk Dirty to Me that, I mean, I think Tarantino stole half of his lines from. But
for Boogie Nights?
No, for Pulp Fiction and a couple other movies he's done.
Django?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing stuff. But Boogie Nights was definitely a thing.
So that's the one?
Yes, definitely 100%. I was like, I watched it at a $2 theater in like Hazlitt, New Jersey. I sat with like 5 dudes. We were all smoking weed, drinking, whatever. And everybody's like, I fucking hate this movie. And I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. They're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta get out of these. I gotta get out of here.
I gotta go find my roller girl.
I gotta get out of here. And it just mesmerized me because everybody acted so fantastically bad in a good way. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to act bad, and they were porn stars and like acting,
in the height of it. Yeah,
right, exactly. In the height of like, I mean, and Todd Parker's my favorite character of all time. Mm-hmm. When he blasts through that door in that party scene, that was the moment that sold me and said, hey, I need to either be Todd Parker. He's like, oh, you dancing then? He's like, I don't dance on Sundays. I mean, just amazing. And he blasted through. There was like paparazzi photos going on, screeching cars.
So did you come out here to get into the porn industry then, or you just wanted to live the lifestyle? What?
I did work for the porn industry for a little while. My buddy Evan Seinfeld, who's the lead singer of Biohazard, an early hardcore group in like the late 80s and early 90s, was married to Tara Patrick. So I came out here without a job. And, I went to film school, saved a lot of money because I was doing accounting on the side, illegally, obviously.
Illegal accounting.
Illegal accounting.
The worst kind of accounting.
Yeah, I was getting people like 100% of their federal back. They're like, are you sure this is legal? I'm like, yeah. They're like, are you moving? I'm like, yeah.
Just sign here.
Yeah, so basically I had them sign their own things, but no one's ever got hemmed up from it. So
right.
I don't know what's happening. Statute of limitations or whatever. Or they go after guys like Daryl Strawberry. They're not going to look for guys.
The feds aren't listening to the Napzok Files.
Yeah, they're not looking for truck drivers like I was. So, basically that's pretty much what did it,
And did you've palled around with these folks, Tara Patrick and those?
Yeah,
guys?
I mean, I used to drive them to Vegas back and forth, and then she'd dance at the Spearmint Rhino and sell like signed panties, and I'd have to collect money that was like being dropped by the guys who go there.
It's a fascinating subculture. I'm not a big porn guy, but I hung around some people I know. One of them was his girlfriend was in porn for a number of years. She's kind of known. I can't say her name at this point. But so I got to have some dinners and hang out there. It's a weird, and then they don't trust you.
Yeah,
they don't trust you if you're not one of them. It's like cops.
Exactly. It's like that. We were doing that one thing a while back. I think it was like Sex Talk with like Danielle Stewart or something like that, and they had like this Evan Stone there.
Yes.
And he was the one saying that too. He's like, if you're not, he was calling people civilians and stuff like that.
Right.
So they have their little,
almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They have their little thing where they just go to these places and have sex without condoms and all kinds of other stuff because they know they're not going to get anything. They get tested for like
they get tested more than the normal human. Yes,
they get tested like every 3 minutes.
It seems as though you would fit into that industry or that world well, both on and off camera. I will say.
Oh yeah.
But I'm surprised that didn't take you in.
I was very close to doing it, and I was working with my former writing partner at one point, and I just started writing. I taught myself how to write basically just through reading like scripts and a couple other things and here and there. And I wrote this story about this fat kid in high school who basically really just kind of figured out that he was smarter than everybody else. He used to get picked on all these other kind of things, and he was poor and whatever. But he's like, I'm just smarter than everybody here. So I wrote a script, and it was panned by every single person that I knew. Everybody's like, this is the fucking worst thing I ever wrote. Or anybody I've ever read, I should say. So I was writing a couple other things. They're like, oh, you write bigger. So I started writing some other stuff, and everybody's like, oh, this is better, this is better, this is better. The old, mumbo jumbo that everybody gives you. And I unearthed that thing after a while, like 5 years after that. And I'm like, wow, this is actually really funny now. I think it was ahead of its time. So my writing partner was able to slip it to some managers and other things like that. And the same person who said it sucked 5 years ago was like, this is the best thing I've ever read.
So how this town works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're like, holy shit. And I was like, why was it not good 5 years ago, though? And then next thing you know, we got signed and got management and agencies and going on the whole dog and pony show to like DreamWorks and all these other places, and managers are taking you to like Met games, and you're going to parties where like swinger parties, and I'm like, wow, this is great. So
you're a good writer. I know this for a fact. You've written a lot of things.
Absolutely.
You had that one project at the last. Right about the time you came into Schmoes, you released something I saw on YouTube.
Yeah, it was a pilot. Yes,
pilot. What was that about?
Well, we sold it to FX, me and my writing partner. We went in half drunk. It was 9:00 in the morning. They pushed the meeting 6 months. We're like, we were supposed to go. Oh, we can't do it today. Can't do it today. So we were working with these guys over at Mosaic, Jimmy Miller's company. This guy Sam Hansen is a great guy. So he's like, I love this project. So we went in there. And we blindsided him with this like pitch board that we made up. It had like Eddie Murphy from Trading Places on it, and like the Taj Mahal. It was totally bizarre. It looked like something out of like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He's like, "You sure you want to go in with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna go in with this. We're gonna knock it out." We had laser pointers and stuff. Half drunk on tequila in a bottle because we were gonna tank the pitch.
Why?
Just because, on spite. tank it on spite.
On spite?
On spite.
Because it was FX?
Yeah,
or
because
just
they blew us off for 6 months.
For 6 months.
Yeah, we're like, we have no chance at selling this, right?
So screw it, we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're in there, and we were just on fire. Like, we were saying just unbelievable stuff. And the guy was like looking at us, and the girl was looking at us, and Sam, the guy we were working with, was like, "What the fuck are these guys doing in here?" Right? They bought the show in the room.
In the room.
In the room. And we were just like, "Are you serious?"
Offer on the napkin.
Offer out right on the napkin.
Right there.
Right there.
It's Ozzy eating a pigeon head.
Yeah.
If you just went in.
It was so unbelievable. I think we went on like a 6-week bender after that.
You should.
Like to Miami and other places. It was
As you
amazing.
should. Then what happens with that? Where's the development go?
We shot it. We
Yeah.
shot the pilot. They were like, this is just so. There's like 35 episodes in one episode. It's so sporadic and so unbelievable that sorry, but also that year they had room for 3 shows.
Yeah,
and it was Wilford, Louis, and some other one. So I mean, we were up against
some heavyweights.
Heavyweights. It just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly. You've got yourself a.
But I think it's
Hobbit
really
and a great
funny.
comic.
I'll send you. I'll put out the link.
Yeah,
you guys
please
want
do.
to check it out. It's really funny.
How do you approach writing now? How do you sit down and write? I can't imagine it's like a normal cue card.
No, it's
screenwriter.
not. I mean, I don't believe in like, hey, I don't believe in like getting up at 9 a.m. and be like, hey, I'm going to write from 10 to 12.
Right.
I write stuff in my dreams sometimes. I mean, I've been known to like write 40 pages in like 20 minutes.
Just crank it out.
Just crank it
I
out.
don't even know if that's humanly possible, but I believe you.
It's definitely rough. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be. I mean, I take the
needs to be
Stallone
edited,
Rocky.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Stallone wrote Rocky in 2-3 days, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but Mickey was a racist. Talia Shire, Adrian's character, was Jewish. It was really hardcore.
So then you spew it out,
Spew it out.
throw it against the wall,
Absolutely.
find the gems in there.
Yes, 100%. And then I'll read back and be like, holy shit. Yeah, this was. I don't know what the hell I was on at that point.
First of all, I can't even.
I write sober though.
Do you?
Yes, I've never wrote. I mean, I've probably woke up drunk, but
Sure.
I've never been drinking and writing at the same time.
You're not like a Hemingway. I can't imagine you though waking. It's hard for me to even comprehend you just waking up normally, taking a shower, shave, and heading to the store. It doesn't seem like you live that normal life. But
No, definitely not.
no,
No, I don't. I like to take showers at night. I'm a night shower guy.
night shower guy.
Yeah,
Just stop there.
Yeah.
You just wait to the next one.
yeah, pretty much.
Nothing in the morning, huh?
Nah, not a morning guy unless I'm with a chick.
Okay.
That's just.
And then you make her take the shower.
And we've had filthy sex all morning. Then yeah, I got to take a shower.
That's what I can't
But
imagine
I like the
you.
pheromones.
Yeah. I can imagine this. I can't imagine you going, I have to go to Target for something.
No,
It just doesn't seem you live that
I
kind
never
of
go.
life.
I go to Trader Joe's for everything.
For including
Yeah.
the deodorant that's made with like salt.
Yes, yes, correct. When I wear it, I use African stuff. I get some oil shipped from Africa.
Right.
It's an aphrodisiac. Chicks dig it.
Oh,
You can smell my neck later. Tiffany always smells my neck. She loves me.
I at a party I've seen you try to get her to smell your neck, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It took a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
it did take a while. She did do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's so awesome. Let's talk about your first appearance on the Schmoes No podcast.
Wow, that was crazy.
Do you remember it well? I do. Everyone does.
Well, Christian called me up. He's like, I really want to have you on the show. And I'm like, okay. And this was like, he said that like 3 months before I even got on the show.
Okay.
I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, just be yourself. You know a lot about movies. And I'm like, I need a shtick. And he's
You
like,
wanted shtick.
Yeah. And he's like, okay. He said, just come do whatever you want. And I'm like, all right. So I came in with the mask, obviously.
Where'd you get the mask?
I got the mask at a place called Scandinavian Grace in Brooklyn. It's it was like a hipster store before like hipsters were like cool and stuff like that.
Are they now?
Well, now they're not even. Well, they're in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always tell chicks I smell too good to be a hipster because like, you got a beard and stuff, and I'm like, no. I'm like, let's go to the bedroom. I'll show you. I'm definitely not a hipster.
I'll show you what a hipster can't do.
Hipster lasts like 2 seconds in the bedroom. So, bottom line, I pick up this mask and I'm like, this is amazing.
Let me describe it for those that don't know. It's this mask. It's like a crocheted one-piece ski mask with a mustache beard combo. So it ends up looking like one beard, mustache, hair, same color, brown.
Correct.
I'm describing it correctly from memory. I
Totally
believe.
correct. It's sheepskin.
Yeah.
So I pick it up. I'm like, yeah, this thing maybe $20, $25. It was $175. So I'm like, what is this thing gonna blow me later? Like, what's going on?
They
Yeah.
take it off the sheep right there.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it.
Put it
and
on
I'm
a loom.
I put it on. I'm with a couple of guys. We're drinking and just hanging out in Brooklyn and stuff like that with my cousins and stuff like that. They're like, that is the best thing I've ever seen. Some girl in there was like, I'd sleep with you with that on. And I was like, you know what? Let's ring this thing up.
Ring it up. 175 well spent.
And it was the best move. It's paid for itself numerous amounts of times over.
The merchandising rights alone.
Yes.
So this is maybe now. It's in phase 3 of the podcast. It is 2012.
I think it was yes, 2012. Yes.
Tiffany hadn't joined regularly yet as a host.
No.
So we're having a bunch of guest hosts, and my good friend Megan Finley comes in and she's on the show, and we're going. I think we're talking about mob movies.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not a control freak, but I'm an organized freak at times, and so that's one of the reasons I produce the show. Christian is a lightning bolt of impulse thoughts, and my job is to grab all the impulse thoughts and put them down on paper and say, hey, here's what you came up with.
Right.
That's what I think my job is. So he can throw me for loops sometimes, and this is one of those cases because the show was all booked. My good friend was coming in to guest host, and all of a sudden I get this, I think, a text. Hey, my friend Tom's going to be on the show. I'll see you there. I'm like, who? What? And I couldn't pick you. Again, I could pick you out of a crowd, but the name, Tom.
We never really talk. I'd say, hey, Ken, how you doing?
Yeah,
good show tonight.
Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So you didn't show up right away, but it was like, and he's like, he's just going to do this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, about we got a show to produce, and I produced the show. We got segments and topics.
Correct.
What's he going to do? He's just going to walk around in the background for the first segment. He's going to what? And that's what you did. In the back, we had the little webcams that towed up, and you're walking in the background with a beard, a Stallone mug, or did you have a regular mug?
I had the Stallone mug that night too. Yeah.
Yeah, and people are tweeting in, who is in the background? So the anticipation's building. Yes. And look, I'm from the world of pro wrestling. I can appreciate a gimmick and a work, and I thought it was going. And so then all of a sudden you're on air. You're sitting down.
Yeah.
And I can't even describe it. You're going to have to go back, folks, to the SK Podcast YouTube channel and find it. I'll get the exact number from Christian later. But no one knew how to react to you.
Well, I opened up.
And I'm sure you're used to that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, people think I'm usually kidding, and they think it's a shtick.
Right.
But then after like an hour of the same stuff, they're like, this is who this person is. You know, and they either love it or hate it.
Yeah.
You know.
And Megan hated it.
She wanted to basically kill me.
She did. She's not a daisy. She's not a rose.
Yeah.
She's the thorns on the rose.
She just was so was looking at me with like utter amazement of like what I was saying. I think she thought I was like heavily sedated on like some drugs or something.
There was thoughts of that. Yeah. There was thoughts of that.
But that's the crazy part about it. I was totally sober. My opening line was, has anybody seen Yoko Ono's clothing line? And everybody's like, okay,
somehow is that scrawled on your bedroom wall in blood?
Yes, of course.
So yeah, it did. It threw us for a loop because it was, number one, it was his character wasn't going to break. You had this mask on, and again, okay, we can play. And then Ellis was I could tell Ellis wasn't going for
Flustered,
it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't going for it. Megan, I knew her well. She wanted to punch you in the face.
Yes.
Christian later was like, she should have done it. Would have been great radio. And even at one point, I thought Christian was like, what did I unleash on the world?
Yeah, I think because the verdict was very, very much out because he's like, look, man, I loved it. I know you for some odd years now. It's your shtick. I mean, I get it, but it's so hard for people to swallow sometimes because they just don't know. And I think I told a line between cocky and confidence. Mm-hmm. And I'm not really a cocky guy. I'm supremely confident.
I know that now. Now I know that, and I'm being very sincere. You're not a cocky dude.
I'm not. I'm 100% not. I don't really like to play that game. It's not my thing. I wasn't raised like that. Mm-hmm. So.
We're not sure how you were raised, but
no, well, yeah. I was raised by my uncle, who I found a porn tape in his house. It was unbelievable stuff. I'll tell you that story later. But I was raised very, very humbly, and I do unto others as others, do to me. And like I said, I was friends with these bullies in high school and all these other people. but I never did anything derogatory towards anybody, and it just wasn't my stick. Like, if we go out and like they'd be like, we're gonna go bomb this guy's house with eggs, and I would hold the eggs and just throw them over the house and be like, oh yeah, I hit it. You know?
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm that guy.
You're that guy. And see, this is so the details of that you were on for a while, right? If I recall, it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. You were on for a whole segment.
They had me on for a while, for
a while. So it was bizarre, and we were getting tweets in. Who the hell's this guy? We couldn't figure it out, and after the show, I think after you left, there was I recall details escape me for legal reasons. There was a rather heated and animated conversation between me, Christian, and Mark Ellis on the sidewalk out front of the Toad Op Studios.
I bet
about not so much that we didn't like it. It was more about what the hell was that?
Yeah,
and what are you
going to ruin the show? I mean,
and never again. There was a lot of never agains.
Yeah,
and Christian, I felt, he's obviously close to you, so I felt he felt a little bad. Maybe he set you up. I don't know. I'm getting into Christian's not here to answer. Yeah. Mark's not here to answer either. Yeah. But I can tell you it was some friends walked up to say hi, and we shooed them away. Yes. Because it was like, we're having a talk here. Yeah. Mommy, daddy, and son are talking.
Correct.
And Christian... It's hard to say no to Christian.
Yeah, of course.
If anyone out there listening, Christian Harloff is so good in a boardroom. He's so good in a meeting. Yeah. You will say absolutely not, and by the end of the meeting, you're like, you know what? It's a good idea.
He could have diffused World War II if he had a chance.
That's what he ended up doing with you. Because I was like, I'm walking. I'm doing Nora Dunn walking off SNL on the week Andrew Dice Clay was on the show. Yeah. I'm out of here. I'm not going to be on it. And Ellis was like, not with me here. I only do it when I'm out of town. And you worked your way back in, and I will give credit. There's two things that I loved about the situation, what it speaks to. Number one, he did say, I don't want to pull the mask back a little bit, but he did say, hey, you know what, he was kind of nervous, and he felt a little bad. And which syncs up to what you're telling me now. Mm-hmm. You're the guy who throws the eggs over the house.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, all right, he's a human.
Yes.
I'm raised a nice guy, too. Yeah. Second was the power of Schmoeville spoke. Because you cannot deny immediately you were one of the more memorable things about the show. Love you or hate you, people had an opinion. That is gold.
That's huge.
In entertainment.
Yep.
So as much as I was like, I don't know. I don't think it would happen. And then Christian loves stoking. So when he finds a little bit of controversy, he's going to dig it. He's going to dig it. And it kept growing, but I couldn't deny, as the producer of the show or the organizer of Christian's thoughts, I could not. There was no way I was going to win over the power of Schmoeville. They tweeted, they wrote, "Who do you want on the show? Finstock, Finstock, Finstock." So it became a thing. And then when Tiffany joins the show and you're lusting over her clavicles, we're off and running. We're out of the port. The ship has sailed at this point.
I think the Travolta story, the Alan Rickman story, and then,
is that Travolta story real?
Yeah, it's absolutely real.
Can you tell it or tell parts of it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing was, I work at this production company, and this guy comes in, and, I was sitting at the front desk at the time, and he's just looking at me, and I'm like, what is this guy looking at, right? So he starts talking to me, and, verbatim, it was like, do you work out? The guys hit on you. The girls hit on you. Like, he's like, what's your dad do? And like this English girl had a cubicle next to me, and he's winking at me and stuff. And I'm like, is this guy for real? And then I had the Stallone mug there, obviously, because that's the only thing I drink coffee out of, any liquor or whatever.
Right.
So he's like, why don't you have a cup of me? And I'm like, oh man, is it like a cup of him, like real cup of him, or like? He's like, memorabilia wise, I was a big star. I'm like, I know who you are, dude. I'm a Grease fan. I mean, I'm not gay or anything, but I'm a Grease fan. And, and there's a couple other things that he was just really like on it. So my bosses come out and take him to the back. And everybody in my workforce, like there's like 20 people who were just like, what was going on up there? And I was like, do you think he was hitting on me? They're like, hitting on you? This guy would have blew you behind the desk, maybe, and I'm like, oh my God.
Behind the office fern.
Yeah. So I was like, Jesus, right? So he comes out after the meeting, and he's like, and, I'm sitting there, I had like a tight shirt on or whatever.
I've never seen you in anything but.
Yeah, I was in peak physical condition before, because that was before I tore my Achilles.
Yeah.
So, he's like, oh man, he's like, your definition and like your traps. And I'm like, I've never heard any guy say this before. And I'm like, it's getting really weird. It's Travolta, and I'm a fan. I mean, I love Saturday Night Fever, Saturday Night Live. I mean, not Saturday Night Live, Staying Alive.
Staying Alive.
The whole thing.
Directed by Sly Stallone.
Yeah. And
Finola Hughes at her finest.
right, and he bumps into Frank. And John bumps into Frank in the movie as well.
Yes.
So it's, I talked to Frank about it the other day. He's like, yeah, that guy's, you know what he is. And I'm like, yeah. So, he's, I'm handing him validations at the end of the night, at the end of the day, because, he needs a thing. He's got a limo downstairs or whatever. And he looks on the validation ticket, and he's like, what, you know your phone number ain't on there? And I'm like, oh, man. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't know what to say. And then he's like, I'm just kidding. And then and he double winked and left. And I was like, wow. And it's been a running joke for years.
Yeah.
And now this girl in my work, her husband's like a painter and like does some really high artwork. Mm-hmm. And this year we did a white elephant thing at our company, and it was the last gift. And I opened it up, and it was a frame poster of me and John Travolta. And I think JT tweeted it out not too long ago. And he's wearing like a Batman costume, and I'm wearing a Robin costume, and we're signing a gay marriage certificate. It's the best gift I've ever had in my whole entire life.
At any point during that interaction, are you thinking, maybe I'll just go with this for a little bit more to see how much more I can learn?
In hindsight, I should have let him blow me. I probably would have got like $200,000 out of the deal.
Right.
And a couple of like chunky candy bars or something.
At what point you're like, I might take this one for the team just to see the story I'll have.
I should have did it. In hindsight, a couple of glasses of whiskey.
Hey, there's still time, man.
If it ever happens
it's
again,
a small town.
he would have. I'd have been a star already. He produced a couple of movies. Yada yada yada.
You could have got that fat kid turned porn star movie made real quick.
Oh my God, that would have been excellent. Are you kidding?
Have you ever been in a long-term relationship that's of merit and seriousness?
Yeah, I was in a relationship for about 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, with the South American girl. I actually moved here from New York with her.
Really?
I was with her for about 2 years, and I'm like, look, I was listening to Billy Joel. What's that one song? It was like, well, you get the house out in Hackensack. Is that all you get for your money? Like moving out. He's like, doing stand-up routines in L.A. And I'm like, I listened to the song with her, and I'm like, you know what? This is it. I'm out of here. My friend has a place out here. He's gonna let me stay. I've never been on a plane before in my whole entire life.
Okay.
I got a one-way ticket to Los Angeles. Had a bald head and no beard. I came back 3 years later in New York looking like Jesus, about 20 pounds lighter, and just people were like, who? My aunt and my family were like, who the fuck are you? Because I came back.
You always shaved your head and everything?
Yeah, I had a shaved head.
Okay.
And I worked at places where you really couldn't have like beards and all kinds of things. And I was just living a life. I was telling stories on like Fridays and making everybody laugh. And the night ended at 12 o'clock because everybody's pretty lame.
Right.
And I would just go home and be like, I'm worth more than this. Something has to happen here.
You want to find your worth.
I was having crazy anxiety attacks and all kinds of stuff. And, I'd go to a doctor and things, and they're like, there's nothing wrong with you. And then one person said, do you like your life? And I'm like, that's a really good question.
Light bulb goes off.
Boom. Exactly.
A powerful lesson.
Oh my God, yeah.
A powerful lesson. You pack up and go.
I packed up and went, man. I jumped on a plane. I took a couple of Xanax because I was scared shit of flying because I never did
Never
it.
done it.
No.
I didn't fly till late either. Did you take her with you?
I sat her on a bench. We were riding mountain bikes over in the city.
Like Muppets?
I sat her on the bench and I was like, look, I'm leaving. You want to come? That's it. I go, I can't guarantee you anything here. I'm not guaranteeing you survival. I'm not guaranteeing you anything.
Your safety?
Yeah, I'm not guaranteeing anything.
None of that.
I don't know what's going to happen out here.
Not an American
but I'm taking
Airlines.
a chance because I don't want to go crazy, and I believe that the world needs me somehow. I just don't know what it is yet.
The world needs Finstock.
Yeah, so I was like, I need to get out of here. Man. And she's like, yeah, I'll come. And I'm like, all right.
All right, so she comes with you.
Yeah.
She's on the plane with you?
Yeah.
How much longer did it last once you get out here?
About 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you were in this relationship? How long ago?
About 2 years ago.
Okay. I haven't known you in that time.
The relationship was over probably about 3 years before it ended. And we were separated a couple of times here and there. And then I would just do crazy stuff. And like,
I can't imagine you in in a relationship, and I'm not saying that in some insulting manner. I don't
No, of
mean it
course.
that way, but it seems like to have those kind of walls around you seems like putting a bear in a small bathroom and hoping for the best.
That's sort of what it came down
yeah.
to, you know. And that's
Yeah.
sort of what it came down to, and she's seen it. The thing was, I equate it to a point where, you know, it's infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when in your relationship, I don't know if you were in one for a long period of time or anything like that.
Yeah.
When there's like a broken window on like the 40th floor of an 80-story skyscraper, it's easily fixable.
Right.
Our relationship had infrastructure problems. Like if a fat person walked by, the building might collapse.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, that's unfixable.
Okay.
And I was moving I'd wake up, I'd have these crazy dreams a lot where I was running out of a burning building and I'd make it out properly, but then I have to go in and save her, and then we both get burned.
And you didn't want to do it.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Finally, one of the dreams, you're like, let her burn.
Then I started like coming into my own as a semi-sex symbol.
Right.
And
right.
Semi. Yeah, semi.
I've seen that picture in your room, your living room, of you, with the mug and the glasses and the jacket. I don't know if it's semi, buddy.
That's amazing.
That's full sprung.
Oh, it's amazing. So that's sold at an auction as well. Really funny stuff. This guy,
Antique Roadshow.
He was a photographer, and he's like, dude, I sold 2 of your pictures. I'm like, you're kidding? I'm like, which one? He's like, the one with the Stallone mug, and there's another one with me with no shirt on with a mask, just standing there.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is that now? He's like, I didn't follow the person. I'm like, I'd love to see whether or not where that is now.
What the
is
hell
it
are they
somebody's?
gonna do with
Is it over somebody's mantelpiece? Is it the Kramer?
It's not JTE, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh man, it might be some of our more zealous fans.
That's true. But yeah, man, that's basically what it came down to, and we called it quits after a while because, I mean, I couldn't resist temptation anymore. You know, I was getting hit on by like doctors and lawyers and attorneys,
and John Travolta,
and John Travolta, and women that were just really super ambitious. And I think if you're in a relationship where the one person is just lazy, it brings you down. And I couldn't deal with it anymore because I was moving at the speed of light and she was moving at a snail's pace.
You're driving around with the wind in your hair, going, "Baby, follow me." But you were in a phone call.
Style.
Yeah. So marriage, kids, that doesn't seem right for you at this point. Normal. That seems too normal for you.
Yeah, I
can't imagine that.
You know, I mean, I like dating all kinds of races. You know, I was dating an Indian chick. She was she nicknamed me Chief Lots of Dick. Then I was dating like an esthetician,
Like a translation on that.
Yeah, and all these other things.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like women in all shapes and sizes, and I don't discriminate.
Yeah.
So
well, clearly because you patent pending created the thing Tinder roulette. Right?
Yes,
So
correct.
We talked about the dating website Tinder with Mark Riley. Riley has found love and a happy, fulfilling relationship. I know another friend of mine who's now in a relationship with someone she met on Tinder. You, though, are like, I just press the like button on every one of them and see what I get.
Absolutely.
How has that worked for you?
It's fantastic.
Stories that you could tell on a semi-family show.
I mean, I met some girl with she didn't even have an arm the other day. Like it was a half arm. Yeah, it was a whatever. It was like a stub arm.
A penub?
Yeah, but it was amazing. I mean, the girl was beautiful.
Yeah,
I wound up having sex with her. I mean, I don't care. It worked out.
You said you're not discriminatory.
You only need a girl. Only really needs one hand anyway. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
So where do you meet these women? On your yacht?
Yeah, I mean, well, no, I take them to my lair. My spot is either Jones on 3rd, Jones on Santa Monica, or like Bar Lubitsch, where I'm like, oh, coincidentally, they're like, did you drive here? I'm like, no, I walked here. They're like, where's your house? I'm like, oh, down the block. And then next thing you know, we're in the bed, and they're staring up at the Finstock picture with the
above.
Yeah, with
it above you.
Yeah.
Any scary experiences where you're like, I got to get out of here?
No.
Has no girls tried to kill you?
Not yet. Not yet. There's a couple of stalkers, but that's to be it is.
You leave them lying in your wake.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm such a nice guy, and girls think I'm a really nice guy, which I am. Mm-hmm. I don't know how. I
can see that.
I don't know how to say no. to people.
Okay.
And that is one of my faults. I always give maybes, probablys. Oh, yeah, it's looking good. Yeah. Oh, the forecast is, I'm like that magic 8-ball.
Yeah.
Without the no. And people were like, just say goddamn no. And then, sometimes I have to do that, and then I feel weird about it.
You don't like throwing those eggs at the house.
Yeah, I don't like doing it.
This is going back to your childhood.
Exactly.
When you were alone in the orphanage, cowering in the corner.
I clearly need a lot of therapy. It's going to happen eventually. My company will pay for it.
They'll pay for it?
Yeah,
Sponsor?
but
I don't know if I want you to get this now.
No, they like me the way I am.
I
They're
think
like, you don't need therapy. Wait till you're like 50 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're the type of guy. We were outside one of the studios, and you were in the corner. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're gathering yourself," and you were pissing into a bottle.
Yeah.
Like you just do things like that because you just live by a different code.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want you to change.
I think of people who follow rules, especially made-up ones, are just doing it all wrong. And I think that's a problem with America nowadays. Everybody's just following these like fake rules, like these unwritten rules that are like unwritten for like no apparent reason.
You're talking like baseball rules here? What, we can't cross the pitcher's mound? What are you doing?
Or like bunting like the 9th inning on a no-hitter.
No-hitter.
Yeah, like things like that. And I'm like, I get it sometimes, but I'm like, says who?
I get that a lot from you.
And I'm like, says who? I can't do this. Christian's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, says who?
Okay, let me ask you about that. Your relationship with Christian. When did that start?
We actually really hit it off really well. Like I said, my former writing partner and this guy was friends with him, and they all went to Florida State and stuff like that. So he started introducing me to these guys, and most of them are my great friends, and still to this day.
Yeah.
Better friends that I've had ever in my whole entire life. Just ambitious guys, really fun guys, just off the cuff, alcoholic, drug addict, crazy maniac people.
I know. I've met 2006 Harloff.
Yeah, exactly. That was just great, and going for their dreams. And I was like, wow, it's really cool that somebody actually thinks when, I know guys like my cousins are like 24 in New York and they feel old. I'm like, dude, and like life starts when you're 30. Like, you need to get a grip.
Right.
Talking about you're old at 24. What are you going to marry a couple of your high school sweetheart, and then 5 years from now you're going to be having sex with her and watching a paint dry on the ceiling.
Right.
I go. I always said, you marry the first girl you sleep with, you're a loser. It's pretty much the case, and like 40% of the people in the world do that because they don't think they're ever going to get vagina again.
Okay, I get it.
But me and Christian, we hit it off very, very easily. I mean, he was fully immersed in the comic world at that point,
Right.
And we'd always laugh and have good times and jokes. He's like, "Hey, you should do stand up." I'm like, "I don't know if I'm ready for that just yet." Or no, I don't think I ever will be. I mean, it takes something special to be a stand-up guy. I'm just so off the cuff, and like I said, I'm counterpunchery. I mean, I might be able to do like what Rick Ingram does, and like just be like
great crowd work guy.
Work guy and things like that. As for material, you know what I mean?
It seems stand-up might be too constraining for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever tried storytelling?
No, but that's something I could possibly do.
Because I could get you started on that, and you might...
that might work.
It might be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Because I know you could tell them.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely do that.
Interesting.
Something like that might
So you
work.
met Christian, you said, about 12 years ago, out here, but you had met him previously in New York?
Yeah, in the Boston Comedy Club.
You met him in Boston, right?
Yeah, he was talking about, like, vaginas look like bologna slices and some other crazy stuff. He was yelling, throwing the mic around. He got heckled. It was nuts. He was funny. I mean, he you know what he did? I think his problem was he stepped on a lot of his jokes.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't let the crowd laugh enough.
Okay. Yeah. He's high energy.
Yeah, that's what it was.
He is now. He is in real life. He is off air, on air.
Exactly.
He's a go type of guy. So
there's no deadpan in
So
him.
did you like him the first time you saw him, or you're kind
I
of
thought he was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Dice guy. I mean, Dice is my guy.
Yeah.
And so is Carlin, obviously.
This all makes sense.
Todd Tucker and somebody else, or Jimmy, Tommy, and Joey whooped the shit out of Todd Tucker and whatever the guy's name is 9 out of 10 times.
So then you meet him out here again, and you guys, because of this Florida State connection with some of your other friends, you guys become friends.
Yeah, we started shooting some little videos and doing some other things, and we just really vibed together on a comedic level. We made each other laugh all the time. We started dating some different chicks,
Yeah. Probably at the same time. But one of my favorite things is watching Christian as your biggest champion.
Yeah.
And so he'll bring you in. And then I love watching sometimes when he's like, oh no, what have I done? You see it in his face.
Yeah.
And he tries to shut you down, and you don't go down so easily. So it's almost like he's unleashed this tornado, and he can't get you back into the box.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that kind of relationship?
Well, sometimes he calls me. He's like, all right, let's go over the agenda for the show tonight. And I'll have it on speakerphone and just like be cooking food. And he's like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, I got everything. Let's do it. We're going to knock it out of the park. And then I come in with a totally different agenda.
You throw it off.
Yeah. And he's like, what are you doing? Like, we rehearsed this.
Did you do that last time when Alicia was on the show? Because I wasn't. I was not the show. I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
And you came in to do my news with a tie, a jacket, and no shirt on.
Yes.
And it seemed like you got him a little flummoxed later in the show.
Yeah, because it's the 3-story thing, and there's sometimes ungoogleable facts.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, where do you get these stories?
Mostly just through like random like websites, and like I'm a 30 answer Jeopardy guy every single day.
Gotcha.
Like I'm dumb smart like that.
And to be clear to those who may be not familiar with this character, and if you've lasted this long, there's hope that you're going to stay to the end of this one here because you're fascinated by this guy like a lot of people are. When he comes on the Schmoeville podcast, we play a game where Finstock tells a story, and we have to guess if the story was true or what elements of the story are true.
Correct.
More often than not, it's true.
Yes.
So where are you getting that stuff?
Well, the thing is, I embellish the truth.
Gotcha.
So it seems so far out there that they think nothing is true.
Right.
But most of the time, it really is. Like the Brando story with the cat, and he found him at the Chinese Chinese place next to the Archie Bunker set, and like all these other things. The cat's name was Sloppy Sal, and I was like, and nobody named the cat, so I was like, maybe I can get away with this because it's ungoogleable anyway. Mm-hmm. And then Christian's like, it's not Sloppy Sal. I told you to say Sloppy Sal somewhere in the thing. I'm like, why did you say that? And so he would have believed it was Sloppy Sal, and that was it. So I'm like, whatever. And he's over it, obviously, and it makes for good radio.
Okay,
and it's controversy, and when people yell and do things like that, it's you watch Stern and places like that, and you want to yell at people. You want to be like, you're not stupid script. Who are you? And then next thing you know, everybody goes crazy.
Like I said, man, people have reacted to you. They're taking to you. I put this out to Facebook to the Schmoeville fan group about anything that people want to ask, and everyone put a lot of good questions. Some of them I've already put out there, but there's some interesting ones. Michael Siskowick asks, is there a situation or no situation that he hasn't been able to talk his way out of?
No, actually not.
I'm stuck in some alley outside New York, 3 Cubans with knives trying to come at you. You can get out of it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Close calls?
I've only been in one fight my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. And it's because the guy stole like $50 out of my house. And then he was buying pizza for everybody, including me, at the pizza parlor. And the guy was like dirt poor. So my grandmother gave me like $50 like on her deathbed. So, and I had to buy my Nintendo, and he was there, and I knew he was like a dirtbag thief. And then next thing you know, he's buying pizza for everybody. So I'm like, and he pays with a $50 bill. I'm like, is this guy crazy? What does he think? He's like, oh, my dad gave it to me. I'm like, your dad's in jail. And he's like, well, he sent it. And I'm like, no, he didn't send anything. So I had to fight with him in the pizza parlor. And I was like, I gotta fight this guy,
over the money, over the principle of the money.
Over the principle of the money.
You could have loaned him the $50 if you wanted, but
but he's a loser. He's dead now. He actually died. He committed suicide. He's a loser.
Well, sounds like you got what was coming to him then. If I'm believing your story,
I think he was just like, hey, I'm gonna steal from everybody because I'm gonna commit suicide anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference.
You get a lot of questions. Eva Vanis is leading the charge on this question. It's about what's her
name?
Eva Vanis.
She cute.
The pictures of some teddy bear on the page. I'll let you decide later.
Okay. Eva.
What were you like when you were younger? What did you want to be when you grew up? And also, how much head trauma have you sustained as a child? The last one's a funny joke. Haha, she puts a winky face. However, at what point did you know you were touched?
Kindergarten.
Okay.
I used to play these like really weird games. Well, I went to Catholic school. Yeah. But I got kicked out. And the reason why I got kicked out
by the nuns or Jesus?
I got kicked out by the priests and the nuns, and I used to get hit with the rulers all the time. But the thing was, I always questioned the belief system. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, they're like, Jesus turned water into wine. I'm like, well, Jesus was the first magician, and they're like, what? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he was the first one to pull a bait and switch technique. They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, when he was sitting at the table with the apostles, the water would be there, and he'd be like, hey, Joseph and Zechariah or Jacob, whatever these apostles' names are. He'd tell him to look over that way. He'd reach under the table, put the wine in the thing, and then voila, he turns water into wine.
And then years later, they're writing about wine. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And the nuns are like, we need to go see the priest immediately. So I had to go to confessions, and I'd be like, yeah, I stole money from my mom. I was, and I'd be like, hey, I'd full frontal nudity to some like old lady in the street, and they were like, this guy's nuts, right? So I really wanted to get kicked out. So basically, I would just question everything Jesus did. I'm like, did you really think he walked on water? I'm like, I don't believe that. And then I was like, he got persecuted because he was a problem to the system that was running over there. And they were just like, this guy is too much for us here. He's going to corrupt everybody in the whole Catholic school system over here.
Maybe you're making too much sense to them. Or
that's sort of what it was.
Yeah.
So the nuns are like, you got to get out of here. So basically, I coerced this dude to whip out. He was like a half retard anyway. Well, half handicapped or whatever. Sorry. And I was like, why don't you? He liked this girl. I'm like, you know what the best thing to do is? Just whip your cock out on this desk and right in front of her. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, just do it, dude. It's all right. Everybody will love it. He got kicked out. I got kicked out for orchestrating it. And my mom's like, did you do that? I'm like, yeah, I didn't want. I got to get out of school anyway. It was too much for me. And so basically, that
was the start of it.
Yes, that was the start.
That has been the same ever since.
Those
asking, oh boy, gosh. I mean, there's some other great questions on here, but
I'll answer them, dude. We got all night.
Well, do you have a name for the beard mask? Joshua Stein asks that.
That's a good question. I never really thought about that. I would say Finstock. I mean, it's almost like Jim Carrey with the mask. When I put that on, it becomes Finstock.
You become. Where does the name Bobby Finstock come from? Is a question Andres Mendoza asks. I kind of know where the genesis of, but
it was really funny. Me and this guy Michael Ponce. You should follow him at Mike Ponce Photog on Twitter. He's great. He's a really funny guy. We were sitting there and just smoking, drinking, and watching Teen Wolf. And the part where Finstock was talking to Michael J. Fox in the office when he's like eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, he's like, yeah, he's a third stringer. The guy's a loser, He's like, after the thing ended, he pressed pause and he goes, "That's you." He goes, "That's you." He goes, when he talks, I seen you there, and he's like, "I'm gonna start calling you Finstock from now on." And I'm like, I'm with that. And this was about 10 years ago.
So this has been a while.
Yeah. And he was the only one who called me it.
Gotcha.
He's like, Finstock. And everybody's like, what the fuck is this? What's that mean? Yeah. And then it just started catching on and catching on and catching on. And then Christian started calling me it, and that's all they knew me as.
Okay.
Because we're big. All our friends are big on nicknames.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. I know this guy 12 years, and I don't even know the guy's first name. Like, his name is Perm, and then someone said, "Where's Jay at?" I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. They're like, Jay Perm. And I'm like, is that his first name? I thought his name was John. And I was like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. So we're friends with the guy.
The Schmoes Know just provided you the platform to take this thing, your personality to the next level, then, and put it out there for the public to take in.
It's made my life so much more happier and so much more fulfilling in a lot of ways, because I think there's actually people who need the lunacy. I think everybody is so scared right now and politically correct.
Yeah.
That I think, I think I'm sort of a breath of fresh air at times.
Maybe. I mean, I guess that's the appeal. I get you now, and I think you're hilarious now, and I get it. But at the same time, when I struggle, and even now, I'll say it's hard to put a finger on what you bring to the table. But
True.
You're saying you bring sunshine to dark places.
Right.
You're saying what people are afraid to say or how they're afraid to act.
Absolutely. I think the world is...
I mean, I'd love for Tiffany to sniff my neck. I don't have the clone for her to do it. So what you're saying is...
It's a je ne sais quoi
Here we
thing.
go.
It's a big je ne sais quoi thing. I mean, look...
I love you, Tiff.
We need... Exactly. I think the world needs a little less Tyler Perry and a lot more Archie Bunker.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is if I would have walked in this door with two chicks, you would have been like, okay...
It's about right.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, perfect.
You just walked up like a normal dude with a piece of paper, no mask.
That's all. Yeah, that's all.
You didn't want water. You wanted
that. I definitely wanted whiskey. Yeah. I want to get into because
go for it. Take it.
You're such a. I always said that I loved your stand up at everybody. No disrespect to Mark Ellis. I thought your stand up was fantastic.
Back in the day?
Yes. That was
Oh, thank you.
fantastic.
There's about
You
four.
always made me laugh.
There's four of you
The
that
white boy
thought that.
comedy thing and a couple
Yeah.
other things was always fantastic. I'm like, this guy's really fucking funny. You know?
Yeah.
And Christian was, he's like, yeah, Ken's a good guy. You know, and then I was like, yeah, I was like, I go to your shows mainly for him and the other guy. I forget his name. Not Santini, whatever. Santini's funny too, but the other guy.
Dalia, who was there?
Yeah, Dalia at the time. I was like,
Dalia.
that guy's really funny too. And
Yeah,
obviously
Dalia was.
he's took off to astronomical levels.
Yeah, I did not, but yeah.
Oh, nah, you're still, dude. Your news kills me. It's unbelievable. But I mean, I know you're a big wrestling fan, and so am I.
Yes. Yes.
I grew up on wrestling. My dad used to. I had front row seats to the snooker Don Morocco steel cage match in the Garden.
Yeah. Historic match.
Dude, unbelievable.
I mean, it makes sense
stuff.
that you would like pro wrestling.
Oh my God, yeah. It was
Yeah.
something that was it definitely orchestrated my life.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling and whatever it was. My brother was actually friends with Captain Lou Albano. They both lived in Mayapack before he died, which is good.
Captain Lou, one of the
So I have a
greatest
couple of trivia questions for
Oh,
you that
okay.
you may or not be able to answer. We'll see.
We're doing a segment. I love it.
I love it.
Wrestling trivia. Here we go.
George the Animal Steel
Yeah.
was in a mainstream movie.
Yeah.
What was it?
Ed Wood.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Who threw in the towel when Bob Backlund was in the camel clutch?
With the Iron Sheik. Arnold Scotland.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. Who was called the Olympic strongman?
Ken Patera.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm not giving these answers. This
No,
guy's
folks,
that
this
good.
is all legit. This
Is a tough one.
Okay.
This is a tough one. I know this one, and it's an infamous photo and things like that. You might. I think
Okay.
you'll get this. Who broke Wahoo McDaniel's leg?
Oh, boy.
That's a tough one. That's to say the toughest one for last.
Was it Stan Hansen?
No.
Okay. Missed it.
He actually wore a shirt that said he did it,
Yes. Yeah. God bless it.
and he pointed to it. He's actually part of the Juggalos now in the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, wow. I know the moment you say it, I'm gonna know. I remember Wahoo broke his leg early on, but it's not One Man Gang.
Nope.
Yeah.
It was Greg the Hammer Valentine.
I just saw the Hammer over at CAC in Vegas at the convention I was
He's a
at.
complete wreck.
He is. I've seen
He's a
him
raging
bowl.
alcoholic.
Oh, he's always when
Unbelievable.
we're at the Gold Coast Casino. That's where we do our CAC, the California Cauliflower Alley Union Club.
Yes.
He's always at Fridays or at bowling,
Oh, yeah.
and he looks.
Oh, he's a trainer.
I wouldn't want to mess with him. He'd probably break my leg.
No, his forearms are still good.
Yeah,
He broke Wahoo's leg.
absolutely.
Yeah. You got most of them.
I did
so
all right. Okay,
That's
Did all
always
right.
the good thing.
I love that.
You know.
I love that. When did you? Do you still watch wrestling now, or did it stop
No,
at the peak?
I
know
stopped.
Wrestling's changed.
It changed. I was there for the glory years.
Yeah.
It stopped for me around like the Undertaker stuff. I wasn't really into that. Like
you didn't
I
get
was,
as far as the Attitude Era in the late '90s. and all
No,
that kind
I
of
was
stuff.
Hogan, Piper, Cowboy Bob Orton, Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, the Sheik. I was a big NWA fan. I mean, Ric Flair is my favorite personality of all
I can
time.
see that.
I met him in a club the one time. It was amazing. He's with two hot black chicks, right? No one's saying anything to him. I go up to him. I'm like, Nature Boy? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, you got the best hair in the whole entire universe. Right? And he's like, okay. So, and I started throwing some lines. I'm like, I got more houses than you have friends. And he starts going into this spiel. He's like, man, I don't think anybody notices me anymore. I'm like, I do. I was like, I go, look, man, I know it's loud in here. Mm-hmm. My friend is the biggest fan of yours ever. And he was on New York time. And this was like 2 o'clock in the morning, LA time. I call this guy 5 in the morning. And I'm like, yo, what's up, dude? I mean, whatever, you know. He's like, what are you calling me so early? And I'm like, dude, I'm going to put on the Nature Boy for you. And he's like, yeah, right. And I'm like, just give him a woo. And Flair's like, woo. And the guy's like, oh, stop kidding around. Whatever the case may be. So I took a picture with him, sent it to the guy the next day. I'm like, that was the Nature Boy and he wanted to talk to you. You just fucked up.
You ruined.
Yeah.
You ruined your life.
Ruined it. And he's with 2 hot black chicks. I'm like, this guy's the best.
And he didn't ask you to join?
I mean,
Could have been.
I tried to.
A few more minutes for Finstock, and he might have been able to.
Yeah. It was a different
What
person
drew
back
you
then.
to wrestling as a kid? Is it the storytelling? The
No, my
theatrics?
dad used to bring me to the thing.
Yeah.
And he used to bring me, and I was like, "This is fantastic." He was a big fan.
It makes sense. You would have been a great heel in the old territory days.
I think I could have been a good manager.
Yeah.
You know?
You could moving from town to town. You would have been the type of wrestler like Piper tells those stories of. You'd be in the restaurant afterwards at the Flapjack House. You know, someone trying to stab you with a knife because of something you did at the show.
Yeah, exactly. Taking things a little too literal. It's a job, people.
I can see that.
But people do that all the time, man. I don't understand the fascination. Like the guy from Dirty Harry when he played the Scorpio Killer or whatever the case may be. Remember that? He was in Cobra. We were talking about it the other day. People are actually giving him death threats because he played the part so well. And he's telling people, I was playing a part.
Yeah.
Like what? I think it's the same people who write fan mail and like or get so like crazy about these things. Like these people are just normal people and they're playing something here.
It seems like you'd be the recipient of some of those emails.
Yeah, I think I might be.
Perhaps the farther we go with Schmoes Know as the brand expands and the fan base grows,
I'm waiting for a couple of
maybe
death
you got
threats.
some people trying to defend Tiffany's honor.
That's true too. There's a lot of crazy people, and some of them seem like virgins. So it's a possibility.
If you were actually given the opportunity to go on the date, we have this thing going on in Schmoes Know. If the fans react and can get behind us and we hit _1 on iTunes, Tiffany has agreed to go on a date with you.
Yes.
Affected as it may be. But if you were given that chance in reality, outside of any nocturnal activities, what would your date be like?
Well, I mean, I'm a really
for?
sensual guy. I mean, I'm very when I get a good vibe going with a girl, I let them talk a lot. I'll ask them great questions about their life and things like that, and I'll just sit back and let it go. I mean, I might flex my chest out a little bit, give them a little bit of
with good reason.
Yeah, a little neck vibe. I'll make sure they smell me and things like that. I would definitely let her talk a lot and make her feel really empowered. And then just start, like, if the place gets loud, I'll start talking in her ear and just, like, light caressing, things like that. I think I'll get her turned on, but I don't know if I could seal a deal with her because I don't really think she's that,
I think she's
receptive to, or receptive.
Reciprocative?
Reciprocative? Yeah, to like, guy movements. I think it's going to take 3-4 months for a guy to, to even maybe get up her shirt. I'm not sure.
I think she is immune to your charms.
Yeah,
she's very secure in her dislike of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very convicting.
Yes,
in her heart.
But I think there's some deep down inside, there is an intrigue that is itching her to figure it out.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm drawing the conclusion to the scene with Charlie Sheen and Jennifer Grey and Ferris Bueller.
Yes,
you're Charlie Sheen on that police bench.
There's intrigue.
And she's like, but then you're like, yeah. You got nice clavicles.
Absolutely. There's an intrigue thing, I think, that she thinks about it. Now, if she was like a raging nymphomaniac, she might take me up on that. I don't think she is. I think she cares a lot about her career.
Yeah.
But I also think that, because I'm scared of people who don't drink that much and don't get out of their mindset. And if a girl says, I don't drink, and I'm like, not even wine at dinner or anything like that, I'm like, I can't deal with you.
Right.
Not saying, like, hey, like, if they were like a raging alcoholic in college and like gangbang like a whole fucking football team or something like that, I get it why you're not drinking anymore, because that's what happens. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like,
merit,
you gotta have a glass of wine with some spaghetti or something like that.
Right.
Like let loose a little bit. And I talk to girls every once in a while, like, oh yeah, I just go to the gym, or like, I'll go volunteer at a dog kennel. I'm like, lose my number. You know what I mean?
You don't want any goodwill from them. What is the type? If there was one type of woman, not just physically, but one type of woman that could corral Finstock, is there one out there that could do it?
You know who I like? I like girls who are funny and cute, and that can make me laugh, and it's not easy to do. I'm a big fan of Abby Elliott. I think she's really...
From SNL? Chris Elliott's daughter?
Yeah, I think she's really hot.
I like that, yeah.
I think she's really, really cute. I mean, I'm not looking for, like, these, like... Adriana Lima from Victoria's Secret. And once she opens her mouth, it's like, oh God, this girl's so stupid. You know, or these other people these other girls who think everybody thinks is like so hot and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, I'm a big fan of Kate Winslet.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I think she's got a great body. Little Children, she's amazing.
Little Children's a dark movie, but yeah.
I mean, sometimes I feel like Jackie Earle Haley running into the pool. You know, where the whole thing just clears.
I feel like him in the swing set at the end of the movie.
Oh, man. What a great... that brought him back.
Yeah, absolutely it did. Absolutely.
But Abby Elliott, Kate Winslet...
Abby Elliott is a very specific... And I totally get it. I think
she's really hot. Like, I mean, like I said, I'm dark hair, dark eyes, C-cup guy. But, I mean, some girls could sway me like that.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha. She was with Fred Armisen for a while. It ended badly, so maybe you could swing in there.
I can't believe he got that.
Yeah.
Maybe he...
I mean, plus that's Chris Elliott's daughter. Like, having Chris Elliott as a father-in-law would be...
It's not a bad move.
That's a great...
I tweet at her every once in a while. I actually did meet her at St. Nick's the one night.
Really?
And we were talking for like a couple of seconds, and some like hater guy came over and was like, "Hey, you know her?" I'm like, "Dude, relax. She ain't even that big of a star. Get out of my face before I knock you out." And then it got weird, and she was like, "Don't talk to him like that." And it got weird.
Maybe there's a second. I believe in second chances.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, folks out there, if you're listening, tweet Abby Elliott and let her know Finstock wants a second chance.
Yeah,
you can make it happen.
It.
So that's the type of girl that could get you to finally maybe buckle down again and not play Tinder roulette.
Yeah, absolutely. Some girl who could just make me laugh all the time. Like I said, it's not that easy, and a lot of girls just don't have the sense of humor. Like, I mean, I like the Sarah Silverman of it all, but she's just.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, she's always talking about how like dirty her vagina is and stuff like that. It's not really that cool,
right?
You know?
Right.
I'm looking for quick-wittedness.
What are the things in life that you actually take serious?
Baseball. I really like the Mets. The Mets are a good. I mean, you know, I really like watching them, and I really get pissed off when they lose.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that I think in a lot of my relationships and even my family members, I'm like, they're like, are you ever serious?
Right. That's a question I have more than anything in this show. I want to know.
And I'm like, I don't know. You know, maybe when someone cuts me off, if I'm listening to like Eye of the Tiger, I get really crazy, or like anything from the Rocky IV soundtrack.
Right.
But you know, I think life's too short, man. I don't really. Like I said, I come from these backgrounds where I've seen a lot of hardships and things like that, and I've always turned it into comedy. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the things I write are. It's written as a drama, and then somehow somebody's like, "Oh, it's the best comedy ever written," and I'm like, "I didn't even write it as a comedy, to be honest with you." But I think I don't know. No, probably not. And that I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet.
Maybe on the surface you think it's a bad thing, but I've seen you're a sincere guy at times.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to realize about Finstock, the character, and Tom, the person.
Right.
Is, like you said, we'll go back once again to the throwing over the house with the eggs instead of hitting the house. You're a sincere guy. I think you have these good... You're aware of what people think of you. You know, I could, you know...
Sure.
You know, I if I'm wrong, let me know.
No, of course.
But yeah, so... But I don't see you taking things seriously, but that's... I don't say that like you're a jokester.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's a little calm under pressure.
Yes, absolutely.
Life being the pressure.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right. Mm-hmm. I think what happens is like I try to spin some kind of comedy in anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom had a funeral. My mom died about 15 years ago. So there was a guy that my brother hired. My brother was a raging alcoholic. I mean, he disappeared in Puerto Rico for like months, and he was reported dead in cornfields. I mean, he's out. He was out of his mind. He was a corrections officer, and then he was in jail, and in the same thing, he was policing Rikers Island. He did like 3 years. He taught like Latino guys how to read.
Then they found him playing left field at a Puerto Rican baseball team.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like he got arrested like numerous amounts of times. He was drinking like bottles of vodka like before the day even started. He got like 5 drunk drivings in the day, like unbelievable stuff.
Doesn't seem legally possible.
Yeah, now he's a drug counselor, so you figure it out.
Well, they recovered.
And he makes sandwiches and stuff like that at the deli over in Mayapack. And he tells like crazy stories and shit
about Captain Lou.
Yeah, exactly, Captain Lou and whoever else he used to roll with. But I think I don't know what it comes down to, man. I'm trying to make light of a lot of subjects, and it seems like I'm joking around. But it's sort of serious because it's like it means something to me, you know. but I just try to put like a little spin on it. That's it.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of my comedy comes from. Like I said, I'm not trying to be funny. It just comes out that way. Sometimes.
What at this point is your career goal now? Sell some shows, sell a movie.
Yeah, I mean,
be a showrunner. What do you want to do?
I'd really like to. I think my place is maybe on radio. I really would like to get a nice podcast going. I really want to I really want to set America straight. I'm very serious about how I think America is just really like pussyified right now. I think anybody with an opinion is like, if you say like, hey, this guy Michael Sam Cat is kissing somebody with like birthday cake on his mouth of the same sex, if you say anything bad about that, not even like, hey, this guy's raging, whatever, any kind of opinion labels you a homophobe, a racist, anything nowadays. And I think that it's just wrong. I mean, a lot of people just can't talk anymore. And next thing you know, people are jumping down your throat and calling you all these crazy names when you're just asking a question.
Right. And it seems that it doesn't seem like you have any political lines there. It just seems like you have a lifeline.
Right. That's pretty much what it is.
Kind of has, I can see that.
And that's why I love Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite show ever. I was like 9 and watching it and laughing.
Yeah,
and
sometimes we care too much that I don't want to say we care about too much what other people think, because I very much am always concerned about other people think, but it just seems we want to make sure it's the two little league teams fight for a championship, and then we give them both a trophy.
Right.
And it's breeding some things down the line. I'm all for the enlightenment of people. I'm for the enlightened. Change the Redskins' name if you want.
Well,
I could move on with that.
America's breeding pussies right now.
That's what the Finstock way. Of saying.
That's what. Yeah, you were getting at it, but I said it.
But again, because I'm afraid I'll offend some kind of advertiser.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
So we whitewash. Now I'm a racist. No,
exactly.
We just kind of subdue our opinions and thoughts. And it's funny to me because I had someone recently over a term, the term gypsies. I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Oh, you can't call them that. They may self-identify it as it, but you can't." And I had to say, "Excuse me." When I was a security director at the farmers market in the Grove, we dealt with large hundreds of gypsies.
Yes.
They would tell us, "That's what we are. You need to call us that."
Yep.
We're not Romanian. We're not this. We're gypsies. We're proud of it.
Yep.
So while
we're going to pickpocket you, and that's what we do here.
We have bejeweled daggers, and I learned a lot about their culture. My point being, it's not that it's wrong to say, "Hey, we should watch and think about what we say about other people." It's just sometimes the reality is the people we're trying to protect are like, "Nah, we're gypsies."
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like the same thing with the N-word with an A on the back of it,
which used to be featured in one of my prominent punchlines.
Right, exactly.
I won't say it anymore now.
No, of course, but basically, like I said, all my friends in New York are black and Puerto Rican,
right,
and they consider me black.
Oh, you have status.
White girls out here consider me black from the waist down now, but I am black considered to them. Yes, as I'm black. So we were watching a movie the one day, and over at this place, and everybody's black and Puerto Rican, obviously. And the one of the black girls goes, "Oh man, see, white people always make that move or whatever." And then the other girl who didn't really know me that well, but how could you say that? There's a white guy sitting right there, and my buddy's like, "He ain't white." And they're like, "Okay." So I mean, I think I used to get away with saying that, and we would still text each other, "What up, nigga?" and things like that. And he's black and he gets it. You know what I mean? And I think that's sort of what it comes down to. It's like everybody has the Chronic album, and that's when whites took a turn. Right. It's just it's a style and things, and then you call people honky and cracker. My thing is let me ask you something.
Yes.
When people are on stage, black comedians always make fun of white people.
Yeah.
But when they're talking like white people voice, like, "I don't know what you're doing over there, Jimmy," whatever the case may be. Like, when a white guy starts talking, like, "Hey, yo, Julio, yo, what's up, man? Yo, what's up?" and starts talking to Bronx, everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's racist." Like, why is that? Is that the way it goes, or is like real comedians are like, okay?
real comedians are okay. I think check Louis C.K.'s bit on the N-word and how he applies it to a deer.
Sure.
It's great. Look, I get some of the history. I always jokingly say now, the time of the white man has ended. We had our reign at the top. We maybe did some things good. We did some things horrible.
Yes.
Now give it to everyone else.
Right.
See how it is to lead. I'm saying that half facetiously, half true. So I understand there's some sensitivities we as white folk should have because of things done in the past. I'm okay with tempering a little bit, but also there's just some realities of life. The bit I mentioned, my car was graffitied in front of my girlfriend's house, and I came out to my car and I found some graffiti, so I told a bit about it, and the joke was I drove from my girlfriend's house to home 45 minutes, 3 freeways, and a police officer pulled me over and he was like, "What are you doing?" And this is all I didn't get pulled over, but the graffiti, I came out and the joke was I looked down and written on the side of my car was "Rolling 40 Crips, bitch niggas yeah, bitch niggas yeah."
Yeah.
Well, that was true.
Yeah.
I have the picture on the car.
Right.
And
so good.
I would say, then I would look at the officer and be like, "What's wrong? Am I out of my territory?" I would tell that joke at Room 5, and a lot of people wouldn't want to laugh.
Yeah.
I did it at the Downtown Comedy Club, which the night I did it, the demographic was made up of, I thought I might die after the show. I did it anyway, and it killed.
Yeah.
And it killed. And they were looking at me, these big, tall, rough brothers looking at me, and they wagged their finger at me, and they winked, and they said, "Oh, you." And I thought, okay, I was rewarded for my courageous non-fear.
Absolutely.
But now,
really
if I return to stand-up now, I'd probably hesitate saying that, because it's been 5 years.
Yeah, of course.
I would probably hesitate saying that joke, as true as it was.
White comedians have limitations.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I really believe that.
So what you're saying is you'd like a forum to discuss this stuff head on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
I mean, look, like I said,
Finstock clears the air.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. If everything works out properly, and we get these shows and things like that. What I want to do in the Finstock initiative, I want to keep it movie based, but I also, I want to talk about just a specific. We'll do one specific movie in the hour or whatever, and then we'll say we do like Dallas Buyers Club, right?
Gotcha.
Basically, what we'll talk about, if I can get like a gay rodeo guy on the phone or something like that, like talk about something that's in the movie.
Yeah.
The topic or the narrative that's in the movie. Like 3 O'Clock High, I'll get a bully on the phone.
Right.
Star Wars, I'll get like some guy who dresses up as the stormtrooper and works at a glory hole or something. Whatever. I mean, something along those lines.
That's a life option?
Yeah, something along those lines like that. And just talk about how this rolls. Because, like I said, do I know a lot of movies? Yeah, some of them. I mean, mostly 80s movies. I haven't
mostly Stallone movies.
Mostly Stallone, yeah, exactly. Or it's porn from the 70s and things like that.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know what planet Luke grew up on, or what planet.
Tatooine,
yeah, or Darth Vader, or, I mean, I've watched the movies, but I don't really pay. Yeah, exactly. I don't pay that much attention to it.
Yeah.
I just look at Princess Leia naked, or I fantasize her being naked.
As most of us did in the late 80s.
Yes.
I like that idea. So we talk about a movie, then you pull out the social issue and you confront it head on.
Absolutely. Like if I was sitting there watching 3 O'Clock High, because I got a lot of stuff to say that people get bullied nowadays. Because like I said, it's like I said, I was able to get my sister to befriend the bully or date him / to get me out of trouble.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I think a lot of these people who get bullied, all they do is sit behind their PlayStations and all these other things, and their mom cooks them cheeseburgers and things like that. My word of advice to people who are getting bullied, get a pull-up bar, put in your bedroom door. Tell your mom to start cooking chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Within 6 months, you'll transform your body. Get a punching bag in your room. Anybody says anything, you knock them out, and then you figure it out for yourself. I mean, it's really that simple.
And now you know.
Yeah, bullies are losers.
Yeah.
And they're very, very easily manipulated because they're very stupid. And if you can use your mind and don't be sarcastic and get knocked out, learn what their traits are.
Yeah.
And then put them against it, and you'll win all the time.
Study the enemy.
Exactly. If the bully smokes cigarettes, bring a pack of cigarettes and be like, "Hey, dude, I found these. You want them?" Just play up to him. If he's spitting Hershey's Kisses in people's hair, bring him Hershey's Kisses. You know what I mean? So he doesn't spit at you. There's ways to combat these things. Not everybody is gifted.
Psychological warfare a little bit too.
Absolutely,
I can imagine
man.
You can wage that.
You gotta play it because the last thing you want to do is, get tortured by a bully. And then, one of my friends, like, he finally got a girlfriend, and he's sitting outside. We had a fire drill, and it was really funny. He put his hands in his shirt, like when you just take your arms out and put them in his shirt and you're sitting like this. So he's talking to a girl. The one of the bullies like operated on all fours right behind him. The other guy like pushed him over.
Right.
And the guy was on the floor trying to flounder up for like a half hour, and they just kept pushing him down and pushing him down. And until one of the jocks came out of the woodwork and was like, dude, that's enough. Like, come on.
Enough.
The girl broke up with him the next day. You know what I mean?
Because he couldn't take care of himself.
Exactly. And he just looked like an idiot. An idiot puts his hands in his shirt anyway on a fire drill. But just saying,
This is some life lessons from Finstock, man.
I feel sorry for him.
What is your obsession with Sly Stallone?
Rocky II was the first movie I ever seen in the movie theater.
Okay.
My dad took me, and I think I might have cried. I was mesmerized. I always felt like an underdog in my life anyway. And Rocky I is just a masterpiece, obviously. But I never really recognized how good Rocky I was until pretty much till I moved out here. I was always a Rocky II guy, Rocky III guy, Rocky IV guy. Then because I was just all about the rah-rah.
Yeah.
But the
Coming to America, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the epic storytelling of Rocky. It's like a 5-man play. I mean, they're in so many, just a couple of different locations. It's so good.
Yeah.
And Rocky I used to be like, Rocky II is my favorite, Rocky III is my second favorite, Rocky IV is my third favorite, and the original Rocky's my fourth favorite. Now it's like totally different. I mean,
little adult perspective, maybe.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I grew up, and I'm like, wow, this is a fucking great story. This guy just killed it from start to finish. It's so good. And and if anybody, like, if I say to anybody, like, hey, what's your favorite Rocky movie, and they don't say Rocky I, I'm done talking to them in like the first 2 seconds. Yeah, that's it. Or I'll just clown them, and that's it.
And your thoughts on Rocky Fives that didn't exist, or?
I wouldn't say it didn't exist. I mean, there was something there. There was great lines. It just
didn't. Yeah,
it just didn't.
Even Stallone would say that.
Yeah, he called it a 0.
Yeah,
didn't translate.
Yeah, didn't translate. Absolutely. So your obsession kind of grew from that, then it carried on to all those other movies.
And Rambo: First Blood is like my second favorite movie of all time.
Sense.
Holy Jesus, that's
Rocky
a great
2,
movie.
3, and all of a sudden Rambo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. He's like, I'm here to see Delmore Berry, and she's like, Delmore dead. He's like, yeah, cancer ate him to the bone. He's like, that was it for him. After that, he was like, done.
So you
Cubby Lever the Raven. Cubby Lever the Raven. He got killed in Jerkwater, USA.
Do you celebrate his entire catalog?
There's, you know what? I'll watch anything. I mean, Lock Up is definitely one of my favorites.
Stomper, My Mom Will Shoot.
Throw Mama. No, wasn't Throw Mama from the Train? That was the Fratelli lady, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't him. That was Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines, right?
Yeah.
And then I was Running Scared. Right?
Yeah, Running Scared is Gregory Hines. Danny DeVito was.
That's what it was. Mama Fratelli was in that.
Yeah,
she was great.
I'm just wondering. So you just love Stallone?
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, I just like the.
You're gonna watch Oscar or something like that. You're gonna watch it. Okay,
Rhinestone or whatever. He did his own singing in Rhinestone. I commend him for that.
Absolutely.
And him and Dolly Parton got got their star in the Walk of Fame on the same day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in 84 or something like that.
And how many Stallone mugs do you have?
I have 6 right now.
Where do you get these things?
It's just very random. I have it in a search engine in eBay that if they do pop up, it immediately notifies me.
And you're on it.
And the one time there was like 4 of them, a lot of 4, and I'm like, where the fuck did this guy get 4 of them? And he was in England, right? So I'm like, no one's gonna bid over $40 for these because they're stupid. They don't know how priceless these things are. So I've had $40, and the next thing you know, it went up to like 70. I'm like, I'm getting a real bidder here.
Yeah.
No joke, I put max bid $700. And I was like, if anybody goes over that, they can have it.
They can have it.
Yeah, because that's where I want to be with it. Mm-hmm. So, I think I wound up getting it for like $120 or something like that. The guy
for
was
4,
like,
though?
Yeah, 4. No handles, though.
Gotcha.
They were like almost dinner. When I have dinner at my house, I'd lay them out like for water and stuff like that. So it's like, they're like not like, see the these glasses we have here.
Yeah, these little whiskey tumblers here.
They would be. I would have Stallone ones at my house.
Stallone tumblers. Got it.
Yeah, I bring girls over the house and they're like, "Why do you have so many Stallone mugs?"
Have you ever had a girl come over to your house and just turn around and leave?
Yeah, once.
Okay. It kind of makes me feel good.
She
about
got a
the
little
world.
scared. I mean, I had a Zap poster up. I have like, the Life and Times of like DB Cooper. She's seen the Travolta thing and a couple other things. And I was wearing sweatpants with no underwear on. It was a lot of work. And she was like, I don't know. Could we go to a bar? I'm like, I don't really feel like going anywhere. She's like, well, I think I'm going to go. And I'm like, all right, whatever. She wasn't hot anyway, so it doesn't make a difference.
Well, it's just it comforts me a little bit to think that at least someone was like, oh, this is a little bit out of my realm of reality.
Well, there's
here.
a misconception, with
Of you?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Like, I don't think I have Tiffany is set the tone that I'm a creep, like a creepy guy.
We're back to Tiffany. I like it.
She thinks I'm a creep.
Yeah.
I necessarily
It's pretty
don't,
clear.
I don't think that. Like, maybe I'm delusional.
You don't. Okay, so you don't think I can confirm that? Yeah, I've been at the parties when we're off camera and off air where Tiffany's like, "Oh God, quit smelling my neck," or offering me to smell your neck,
Right? Things like that. Yes.
Okay.
But that's a stick I play up for
So
her.
much like in any epic movie where the villain is unaware that he's a villain, you're okay. You don't think you're the creep.
No,
I don't
not
think
at
you
all.
are. I can understand where they get it.
Yeah,
I can understand where they get it.
You might be right. Well, because you know what? I ask direct questions. Like, I'll ask her, like, I'll be like, so when's the last time you had sex? And they're like,
And none of us will ask any of these girls these questions.
no, I don't think anybody on the planet asks those people
no.
questions. I just have a simple way to do it. And, like, you know what? A lot of times girls are like, you know what? That was the most interesting conversation I've had in a
What was
really
the one
long
thing
time.
you said to her when you're about her jeans or something like that?
Oh, they fit her like a glove. And
I don't know.
thighs were out.
It was.
She's got great thighs. She doesn't show her ass off enough.
It was one of those. It was like we're all like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, you got great thighs."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I think there's a way to do it. I mean, I met some German girl yesterday, and I was saying the same thing to her.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Man, your hair is amazing." I go, "It looks like Julia Louis-Dreyfus's in Seinfeld." And she was German. She had no idea what I was talking about. She had great, like, olive-looking eyes. I'm gonna call her later.
Oh, good. Well, we're wrapping up here soon, so you can go chase her there. Yeah. In closing, I mean, I had nothing planned for this other than a couple thoughts, and
perfect,
and
man.
we've been going here learning. Well, I don't know if what we've learned about you because much like you've put on the show, we don't know what's real.
Hey, man, I'm just a white man living in a Chinese world.
Absolutely, hickory dickory dock. In closing, what's your thoughts for Schmoeville to the final words on Finstock?
Well, I think I love what they're doing over there on Facebook, and I think it's growing and growing and growing, and I think it's fantastic. I would tell Schmoeville about Finstock, like, look, just take it with a grain of salt. Like, have an open ear for it. Just like listen to reason sometimes. I think that I make a whole lot of sense in a lot of ways. It might be roundabout thinking here and there, but I really do believe that what I'm saying, there's truth to it. And I really firmly believe in it. Yes, there might be comedy in it just to, like, sort of sway you in a little bit. But I do believe that America needs fixing, and Finstock can do it.
Absolutely. I cannot wait for the Finstock initiative to generate and get off the ground finally over there at either the Schmoes No Network or somewhere else, but I think it will find a home there once that ball is running, man. It has been a pleasure to finally get you in here.
Yeah,
it is 2 years in the making. I want to publicly apologize if it felt at any point I was holding you back on the podcast. It's because I had yet to comprehend what I was witnessing, and I had to wrap my brain around it like a Pink Floyd song. I had to figure out what was happening.
I agree. I mean, like I said, it's very, like I said, people just think it's like, is this guy like, is he for real?
Is he real?
Yeah, is he for real?
What
and then
part of him is?
But who can hold up the same shtick for like ever?
It's
like, how do you never come out of character? People are like, do you ever come out of character? I'm like, I'm not a character. This is who I am.
You
That's
just
it.
add the mask for a little seasoning.
Absolutely. It does it
Do you keep that mask on sometimes with the ladies?
Oh, yeah. The girl I had over at the house the other day, she's like, what is this? And I'm like, it's the mask. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm on this podcast. And I showed her like the Meet Your Schmo. She's like looking at me the whole time like, really? She's like, this was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And she goes, do you believe in all that stuff? And I'm like, yeah, of course.
And you got the job done.
Yeah, well, she's already seen my apparatus, so she was already sprung anyway.
Black from the waist down.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, that has been the Napzok Files with Finstock, or you may know him as Tom Dagnino as well. And where can they find you on Twitter?
At Bob Finstock. I'm also going to be in a web series called Sunday Brunch. I play a yoga teacher named Yoga Warren, who is like basically he sexually assaults his like people, and he does hula hoops and sunset and stuff. It's not too far away from who I really am.
It's like typecasting.
It's a web series. It'll be out probably mid-July. I'll shoot you guys links and stuff like that. You can find it on my Twitter and things like that.
On all platforms there.
Yes.
All right, so follow him at Bob Finstock. You can catch him on the Schmoes Know podcast from time to time. We broadcast live every Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. PST on schmoesno.com from the AfterBuzz TV studios, which I want to get Maria Menounos around Finstock and see what happens.
Oh, my God.
The mask and all.
She jumped into my arms at her party that night.
It was a little different. Party atmosphere. I want to see her up close at a podcast.
Oof.
Oh, boy. Poof indeed. So find him on Twitter and look for all that stuff and catch him on the podcast. Follow us at Schmoes Know. Follow me at Ken Napzok. If you are on iTunes listening to the show, do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review. You can find us on Facebook as the Napzok Files and also on Stitcher. The growing platform that Stitcher is, soon to be in cars. It's another form of podcast platform. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Eventually, it's moving into cars, and I think that's going to be the final. That's going to be a good thing. It's a good thing. So do that. This has been a very interesting, record-setting length because you were just so fascinated to find out what we could get from you, and we did. And I answered 3 out of 4 questions right on the wrestling trivia. So for Finstock, this has been Ken Napzok and the Napzok Files. We will see you next time. Poof.
Poof.